In this video, I'd like to unveil in the new MEP Productivity Pack 2018 update the new universal lighting fixture content that we have developed. In one family, we now have the ability to have both a hosted and unhosted lighting fixture with a native light source, so not a nested light source, which makes it easy to update the photometry and also do lighting calculations when needed. All the lighting fixtures that you see in this particular plan view come from just 3 light fixture families, with the exception of these pendant lights. However, there are pendant light options within this universal family, as you'll see in a moment. To start with, I'll just go ahead and show you how we place a family. I'm going to go to the Systems tab, start the lighting fixture command, and you'll see this first one we'll look at, the rectangular dash universal. So there's actually 10 different demo fixture types you can see in the type name describing what this light fixture can be. So it can be a recessed, surface mounted, semi-recessed, pendant, high bay, linear, lots of options here. So if we just go with the typical 2x4 recessed, and we want to use this in a way that matches the original Electrical Productivity Pack content and a lot of design firms' content workflows, and that's a face-based workflow. You just simply place the family as you would in the past. So I'm going to click Place on Face. If I hit the space bar, you can see it rotates. It snaps to the grid lines. So I just clicked and placed this light fixture. If we cut a section, we can take a look at what's happening here. So we can see that light fixture is hosted. Its properties say it's hosted by that linked reflected ceiling plan. With this fixture that's been placed, if we look at its type properties, we have some options to simplify whether it's surface mounted or semi-recessed. Down here in the dimensions section, you can see there's a surface mounted option. Of course, this is a type property, so we might want to make a new type, but just for this example, I'm going to hit apply, and you'll see all the light fixtures that use that type just shifted down the housing height dimension automatically. So the same family, as I mentioned, can be hosted and unhosted. We'll get to the unhosted part in a minute, but it also has this ability to be surface mounted or recessed automatically. Of course, this is a linked ceiling, so we're not cutting a hole in the ceiling with this family. When we select semi-recessed, this semi-recessed depth parameter becomes active and is something that we can edit to reposition the content. So you can see that's moving the content around. So we'll set that back, unchecked semi-recessed, hit OK. Now we'll switch back to the plan view, and if for some reason you need unhosted content, say you're working on an AutoCAD background from an architect or some space that doesn't have a ceiling, for example, you can use that same family. And in this case, we'll literally use the same family and type just for an example. So the 2x4 recessed. And if we select this option during placement called Place on Level, and then we adjust our ceiling height to match whatever that room is. And I can't remember what it is, so we'll just set it at 8 feet for now. And then one last step is to pick our work plane. So rather than having to create a bunch of reference planes for all the different conceivable levels the architects might impose on a building, all unhosted content will reference the floor level with which they are associated with. So then we click to place that fixture and hit escape. While we're placing this content, it's a little harder to see the family until it's placed. So you may have to place the first one, and then this of course could be copied around. Now when we go to, and actually let me delete this one just so that hosted one behind it isn't obscuring our view. So when I select this, remember the value was ceiling height. So if I change this to 7 feet, you can see this lighting fixture family is moving separate from the ceiling, and it has no relationship to the ceiling. It actually is tied to the floor. But what's really cool about this, if we go in and edit the subcategory to turn on the light source, we'll see that it is correctly positioned. So here is the light source, and if we were to uncheck place on level, we'll see that that fixture flips itself over. So traditionally, if you just had a face-based family and applied it to a ceiling, it would apply appropriately. But then if you tried to apply it to a level, the light source would be facing upwards. So in the magic of the inner workings of our family, by checking this place on level option, it basically flips the geometry and the light source over and then starts using the ceiling height option. And the idea behind how this would work in terms of positioning it down from the ceiling, if it were a pendant, for example, is that you'd set the ceiling height to whatever the ceiling actually is, or if it's the structure above, you'd specify that value. And then if it's a pendant, there's another parameter here called suspension length. So this way, when you type in the ceiling height, all you have to know is what the ceiling height should be, and then what you want your suspension height, so you don't have to do the math. This will do it for you. You could leave suspension length at 0 and just type in 6 feet above rather than 8 feet minus 2 feet like the formula is doing for you. Certainly up to you on how you want to manage these parameters, but they're named in a very intuitive way so that this content can be easily placed. In the next video, we'll look at 2 other universal fixtures. This one is just the rectangular lay-in.